Hello and welcome. I am Dogbert, and today I'm going to explain what the hell went wrong with Apocalypse, and maybe some things we can do to try to fix him if they want to listen to me, if at all. Of course, fixing Apocalypse also means fixing the company, because part of the problem is them and their processes. So before we get going, just a little updates on, well, me and the channel. So I've been wanting to quit for a long time. Quit YouTube, quit Twitch. But you keep bringing me back. Because a lot of you do like my content. Part of the problem is I let the negativity get to me. And one of the things I got negativity on was saying that he was not going to change the arena meta. This is why you have been seeing nice little videos from me destroying Apocalypse in the arena. Why I laugh so hard. I'm spiking the ball. I'm dancing in the end zone. I'm rubbing my ass in your face. I'm enjoying it. I'm like that. I'm an asshole. I know I'm an asshole. I fully admit I'm an asshole. And I'm enjoying my victory. And the other thing that has happened that actually might affect my YouTube, my MSF playing. If you haven't heard, me and my wife are adopting a baby. We don't know if it's a boy or girl yet, still too early. But this won't be till July, August time frame when the baby is here. So assuming everything goes well, I'll have a baby then. What happens to me then? No idea. I'll have to see how it goes. Of course, taking care of a baby is a lot like taking care of MSF players. They both pretty much do the same thing. They cry, they eat, they shit. Really same thing. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, enough on me. Now, what the hell went wrong with Apocalypse? Well, let's just start with his stats. Let's get the obvious ones out that you probably already heard. Of course, we're also super focused on the speed at 122. But this is his focus and resistance. This focus is with Skirmisher. This is how much crap his focus is. His resistance, also absolute crap. Even once you figure in Morgan Le Fay doubling this, still crap. So that's part of the problem. This is what's allowing him to get flipped by 2099. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, if you don't know 2099's Kit, who I still say is a highly underrated character, who has got put into the got pushed back because of the spotlight shining so bright on Spider-Weaver, and everybody thinking it's Spider-Weaver is the problem, it's actually 2099. Like I've been saying, like I predicted with Boilon when I pointed out to him the passive. On turn, flip one random positive effect. This is actually quite devastating because you're flipping an immunity into a disrupt, so even when Apocalypse counters and is supposed to get speed up, he doesn't, because he's got disrupt now. Now they could give him more resistance, but then he would still lose that immunity once Spider-Man 2099 takes his turn, because then he'll have 1,000 extra % focus for each active ability. His active ability being his ability block, his special would also be up at this point. He would then strip, of course, the immunity off at that point. But Apocalypse would be able to get his speed up and offense up at this point, speeding him up. Which sounds great. Until we look at Spider-Weaver. So don't forget, she got 20% from 2099. But the problem is with Apocalypse's counterattack then, even in this scenario. And we see it now also how he makes the team even worse when he's on defense. When you have if you have Spider-Weaver on your team, Spider-Weaver on the defending team. And if you had Apocalypse and their 2099 went, where's my Spider-Weaver? She's big. There she goes. There she is. And people were wondering, why the hell is their Spider Weaver all of a sudden going when I should have more speed? Well, it's because of Apocalypse counterattacking. It's due to this line in Spider Weaver's passive. When this character or a Tangled Web ally, such as 2099, is attacked, that means counterattack counts. She gets an ability energy, plus she gets another 10% speed bar on top of what 2099 just gave her. In other words, instead of getting 20% speed bar, she gets 30% speed bar because of Apocalypse giving that extra 10%. Apocalypse actually makes the team worse in this scenario. It's really quite amazing just how bad this really was. How they didn't take into account new characters. And we know that he was designed to take on Dormhold as the arena meta. How do we know this? Well, they've tipped their hand. In the last strike time in which they revealed Apocalypse's kit and his stats, they did an arena fight, and they talked about how he was beating Dormhold. They showed Dormhold. If they had ever intended or actually tested for him to go against Weaver 99 and the actual hybrids we actually have been using, they would have shown that. You don't think they could load up those games and test out against them? No. They knew this. They didn't bother. His kit's been like this for, about a year. How do we know this? Well, back when Archangel was first hired back in June, July, I know it was definitely by July, he made a comment. He knew all the horsemen already. Obviously, because he's an employee. He even said he saw Apocalypse's kit. Nobody bothered to go back and say, hey, is this still going to work? And that brings us to what they could have done different. The first thing they did wrong was they stretched this out for a goddamn year. That was the first problem. Had they just simply made, okay, the next 4 patches are going to be the Horsemen, and then 5 patches where it's going to be Apocalypse. Had they just done that, which would have taken at least a half a year, if not more, with the way they do patches, Apocalypse would have had his time to shine. Just focus on patches, just on Horsemen and Horsemen teams. It might seem a little jarring to us, but we would have built up the Horsemen, we would have built up the Horsemen teams. Maybe one patch off between the release of the final Horseman and Apocalypse at most. But then we would have had the Horseman teams, we would have had Apocalypse. He'd get his time to shine in the arena, because characters like 2099 Weaver wouldn't have come out. Not yet, at least. They would have been delayed farther. Then they get released. Now, oh look, now we have a counter to Apocalypse. Well, he had his time to shine in the arena, so that would have been fine. So what else went wrong? Well, another problem is right here. His tags. Or should I say lack of? Why does he not have Legendary? You said he's supposed to be good in Dark Dimension. Why can't he work with the Horsemen in Dark Dimension? They're all Legendary. Why isn't it Apocalypse? No, let's go beyond that. This is going to assume that we're going to get another Dark Dimension that we even care about that. Because you shouldn't be getting Apocalypse if you haven't completed DD5. And at this point, Dormammu's way more valuable than Apocalypse. But let's go beyond that. Why doesn't he have Death Seed? Why doesn't he have Darkhold? Why doesn't he have Unlimited X-Men? Why doesn't he have Gamma? If he got those tags, that actually might help fix him right now. Would he be arena meta? No. But he would be plug and play with those teams. Because if we look at Morgan, if he had the Darkhold tag, all of a sudden he gets 20% barrier off of her. He'd get barrier. Look at this. He'd get Safeguard. Ooh, that's nice. Oh, look at this. He'd get 10% speed bar on every enemy's turn. All of a sudden, he's getting sped up. He's got safeguard. Morgan would help lower the assist chance, but not that it really matters right now. He already gets the 50% max health, and he gets the 100% resistance. Simply giving him the Darkhold tag and making him be forced to be paired with Morgan is not a bad idea. It allows him to become more powerful with Morgan, but it ties him to Morgan also. Tie him to a horseman. So in Arena, which is where you would use that team, this makes more sense. Because Morgan's supposed to be the Arena horseman. Now let's move on. If you have seen my video on why Apocalypse makes raids worse of Death Seed, well, Death Seed's actually, Archangel's actually probably one of the best ones that does work with him, honestly, as far as his kit. That's another thing, is it seems like the Horseman stuff was just kind of bolted on. Now, if we look at Archangel, he actually gives a lot to Apocalypse and the Horseman. If you actually get a kill, they give ability energy, but this isn't really very relevant to the arena, but very relevant to raids, which is what he's supposed to be doing. He's going to get a reduced speed bar no matter what. Why they bolted this in as two separate lines is beyond me. Why not just say character or Death Seed or Apocalypse or Horseman? I don't know. But he gives everything he does. He doesn't give a whole lot. He gets crit armor, but it's nicely there. But the other problem, now when we look at his special, we start seeing the problems. Why is he only clearing it off of Death Seed allies? Why can't he clear it off the Horseman? Why can't he clear it off Apocalypse at least? You obviously can put Apocalypse or Horseman out here, so you could do one or the other, or both. He could give Apocalypse an offense up, maybe if it gets, like, I don't know, stripped by 2099. That's another theory. But there's more. Now, this isn't as big as a deal. I mean, on kill prolonging, well, you're not going to be... I don't even know why they bothered to put this in here. If you're killing somebody, finally, it doesn't really matter if you get more positive... You get longer positive effects. But in raids, he could do that too. Why doesn't he do it in raids? He doesn't. Making Apocalypse worse in raids. Why can't Apocalypse be used in raids? Well, it's because of the kits of the other Death Seed characters. All this stuff is just Death Seed, Death Seed, Death Seed. If Apocalypse had Death Seed, he could actually be plugged in and work with all these other characters. Actually be a member of the team. All of a sudden, now we don't feel so bad about Apocalypse. I can plug him in. He might actually be decent in here. Because Psylocke feels way better, and she's actually very slow, but she felt faster. You know? You could make him truly plug and play. So he gets things like, you know, getting all the positive effects from Nemesis here. Getting the speed up from Nemesis. Helping Magneto out. Because if you use him, Magneto's not guaranteed down here to get his energy and everything, and giving speed bar out, because you need 4 or more Death Seed allies. It means you need the full team. Why isn't Apocalypse here? Maybe you don't put the Horseman here, so you don't use Rogue. Maybe you just put Apocalypse. Simple ways to fix these things. Or you just give Apocalypse the goddamn Death Seed tag. Seems a lot simpler. So that brings us to, let's now take a look at Unlimited, since I just mentioned Rogue. What would he get if he got the Unlimited tag? Well, obviously you'd go and use them in Cosmic Crucible. And in Cosmic Crucible, that's where he's going to start shining a little bit more, because then if you're going Unlimited versus Unlimited, he's going to remove that safeguard. But Rogue's doesn't really, her kit doesn't do much for him otherwise. Oh look, if he had the Unlimited X-Men ally, he'd get Safeguard and Cosmic Crucible. Unless, of course, there was another Apocalypse on the other side. But again, this would help out with that stripping of the buffs again. Now, it would be okay in Cosmic Crucible, but you'd have to pair him with Rogue, who's supposed to be the Cosmic Crucible Horseman. You can even make it so that because he's unlimited X-Men, he's like kind of like an X-Men. This is kind of more of the... We tried to sandwich Rogue in here, and we want her to work with X-Men, but he needs to do... This needs to just be copied and pasted into when it, for like a Horseman ally or something. That actually make Rogue better, even though she's pretty goddamn good as she is. I mean, she's giving him the damage, but he could also get drain, extra drain. That would heal him up more. That'd make him harder. Not much else with Rogue herself. Let's see, what else do we have? Here we go. Gambit could give him evade if he had the unlimited X-Men tag. That'd make him harder to beat. Not impossible. He'd also get extra crit and damage. Just showing you how these tags could help him become a truly plug-and-play character with the different Horseman teams in their modes. You'd probably drop this guy off. But you get the idea. And finally, last but not least, Gamma, the team that is probably the one you can't break up the most, especially in war. So what would he get if we gave him Gamma? Gamma, whatever it's pronounced. So he's already getting the focus. But he'd get the on-spawn speed bar fill. He'd help out Red Hulk rather than be a detriment, because if you put him on there now, you're actually losing 10% speed bar. When he gets attacked, he'd give Red Hulk a charge. He'd get damage reduction, he'd get resistance. All things that are really valuable. And then you taught Alien, Red Hulk would give him more speed bar. This was also another thing that gave us a hint that Apocalypse was going to be slow. The fact that he had to get 15% speed bar, whereas the other one got 10%. It didn't make sense to me, and I called it out then. Why the hell did they give him more speed bar? So there are fixes to Apocalypse. Maybe we just give up the whole idea of his arena meta. Maybe he'll be useful future with the arena meta. Maybe Quicksilver brings him in. I don't know. Maybe him and Morgan become part of the arena meta. Just those two together. There's possibilities. Maybe he becomes more of a hybrid like that because we give him those extra tags. I think that might be the fix. They don't have to change his kit. They don't have to give him safeguard so he's standalone. Make him a little bit more dependent upon the Horsemen to make him a little bit better. Of course, there's one other fix. They release more Horsemen. Maybe replace some of the Horsemen, make him better. That's another thing. That could be the next year-long thing. But there's also other problems. It's quite obvious, though, if you look at these kits, that he kind of just got forgotten about. Maybe it's because it took him a year to make him, or get all this crap out. Maybe it feels like a lot of the stuff was just kind of bolted on. I don't know. Maybe there's not enough communication between the teams making all these characters. You know, how did Spider-Weaver become so powerful before Apocalypse even came out? That's why I think the timing thing is much more important. Instead of doing year-long, just give us patch after patch after patch that builds up to the big bad, or big good, whatever it is. And then they get a little bit of time to shine before the next really powerful character like a Spider-Weaver comes out with 2099. Who finally takes them down like a few months afterwards. The arena meta stays nice and fresh. I like this arena meta being hybrids. It's fun. It's not Infinity Watch versus Infinity Watch. That sucked. But those are some things to think about. I'm sure you'll let me know your ideas in the comments. And I'm sure you'll let me know my ideas are bad. Because this is the internet. And this is YouTube. And this is Marvel Strike Force. Until next time, everybody.